Robert Karpathios here, creator of the Ditch Your Dad-bod Blueprint, and welcome to another episode of Own Your Life. We're in beautiful wine country, Niagara-on-the-Lake, and you're about to meet one of our VIP fat loss students and learn how he went from unfit, unhealthy, and burnt out to now owning his health, owning his body, and owning his life. Enjoy.
As I grew up through my high school years and went into my 20s, I still didn't have my life kind of figured out. While most of the people close to me were going to university, I was still plugging away with my band, trying to make a name for ourselves. And the lifestyle that I was living was very intense. It wasn't sustainable. I thought my music career, I thought we were bigger than what we were. We were going on tour, playing shows, a couple of times a week. And our band broke up after college, so like when I was 21 and 22, and then my solo career kicked off. And I was getting videos on Much Music, I was getting radio play. But at the time, I wanted to, be a part of the social atmospheres of downtown Perrie and the culture so bad that I would drive from one party to the next or drive to one bar to the next. And I eventually got stopped by the cops. So all of my dreams to travel the world and play guitar and sing and be in front of everybody that was, singing back to me was destroyed based on my personal choices. What brings me to where fitness came into play is where I was about 25 years old. I got a job with LA Fitness, and that was my first experience with direct sales, full commission, as well as it was my introduction to an actual gym. I had always stepped into a gym once, but I was always a twig, right? I was always intimidated to go to the gym.
What made you get the job at LA Fitness?
Well, that's a really good question. So one of my good friends, his girlfriend was working there as a personal trainer, and she knew my struggles through my 20s. She knew that, I spent way too much time focusing on, the social aspects of my life as opposed to the, financial or career aspects of my life. But she always knew that there was something about me that needed to be triggered or fulfilled. And, if we could replace it, it's not that good to replace one addiction for another, but if it's a healthy kind of addiction. So she said, Andrew, come to the gym, meet our general manager, Scott Holiday, just at least talk to him. I think you'll be great in this industry. So she introduced me to the general manager, Scott. He's a really close friend of mine. He ended up becoming my mentor in the sales industry, and kind of the rest is history. I rose up the ladder fairly quickly to I got my own club in Niagara Falls, which that's the whole transition I went from Perrie to down here in Niagara Falls. And so I got my own club as general manager. And then from there, I ended up moving out west to help Scott Holiday run additional clubs and try to break into the Western market. And then I realized that, making somebody else rich, working 6 to 7 days a week was just not something I'd be interested in doing anymore. So I took basically everything that I was taught and used it to my advantage to start my own business. And I thought that, okay, if I'm really good at selling gym memberships and I'm making anywhere from $20 to $100 a membership, maybe I could sell something that brings in a higher price per unit. And so next logical thing, gym memberships to housing. And I was really, really inspired by Thomas Ferris and the Mark Ferris team and just how well they were doing. And that's really what sparked my interest to get into real estate. And I realized that there was one thing missing: branding. And Niagara Falls at the time, when I got my license, nobody was really doing video. So I saw a massive opportunity. So by the day that I was eligible to start promoting myself as a realtor, I had videos backed up and ready to go. So I came out swinging, and that was actually the whole premise behind my first marketing campaign. I had boxing gloves on, and I'm like, I'm coming out swinging. And we did, you know, those Old Spice commercials where it's like, you know, you walk and the background's all changing into different scenes. That's kind of what we did. I started off like Michael Scott, and I was drinking my coffee at a desk. I stood up, camera pans down, I'm wearing my maple leaf boxers. So right off the bat, I was setting the tone to do something different and to create a brand that people could recognize. You'd be surprised when I was calling random brokerages to book showings. They're like, wait, you're Andrew Perrie? Oh my God, everybody's talking about you right now. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So it just kind of fueled my burning desire again, right? To be fulfilled, to get recognition, and then of course to make the money. So it was very, very interesting. But what I found out, if we're trying to relate it back to my fitness journey, what I found is that in my first year, so 29 into my 30th year, I was realizing that I wasn't taking care of myself because all I was doing was working. I was saying yes to everything. I was eating out, 2 to 3 times a day. And that led up until this summer before I just started the program. We were having a lot of people over, and it was COVID, and we were really enjoying all the food and the beer and the wine. And I remember just walking past, we've got this really big mirror up at our front door. And I was running to meet a friend of mine at the door, and I had my shirt off and I had my swim trunks on, and I just happened to catch myself. I was like, what? Who is that guy? I've been 150 pounds my entire life, other than that small blip in time when I took all that weight gainer. But then I went back down to 160. I looked at myself, I'm like, whoa, something's off here. And I stepped on the scale, I was 201 pounds. And I remember looking at myself and just thinking, oh my gosh, like it wasn't a cardio thing. I always played hockey. I always played, I was always skateboarding. So I was never necessarily out of breath. But for me, it was a body image thing. And I started to notice it as soon as it was last summer. And it almost made me feel sick. And here, this is where it kind of gets a little emotional for me. Because it wasn't the fact, again, that I felt necessarily that body image made me unhappy, but I started to think about why I had that body image and why I was overweight. And it's because I was replacing one addiction for the next. Okay, I wasn't going out partying, and I was hanging out with my family, but I was replacing the alcohol with ice cream. And I was not taking care of my mental state as well. It got to a point where one of my team members pulled me into my office and was like, Andrew, are you okay? Actually, she said, you good, bro? And I remember almost breaking down right in front of her. And I couldn't explain to you why I was so emotional about it. And it wasn't because I thought I was fat. It wasn't. It was because I knew that I had not been taking care of myself. And it was to a point that it was not only affecting my physical state, but also my mental state. And I was very unhinged. And somebody could say something. I'm usually a positive and outgoing guy. And for the past few months before the program, somebody could say something, it would just throw me off. And I knew that I had to do something to change. Rob and I are kind of very similar with our content. It's more of a value. How much can we give before somebody wants to reach out because they need additional information? And I can't remember if Rob reached out to me or if I reached out to Rob. I can't really remember, but it was a fairly quick process from when we started to connect to when we booked the first call. However, it did take a few months from our first hello to start something up. And there's a reason for that. Because I knew that with my past history of, partying and letting things slip or addiction, it was not gonna be easy for me. So I swept it under the rug for a while. Until Rob and I hopped on the phone call. And Rob said to me, He's like, why don't you want to start right now? What is the biggest thing holding you back? And I said, the biggest thing holding me back is not the price. It's not the program. It's not Rob. It's me. I didn't want to let myself down, let my family down, let Rob down. Because this is a big accountability thing for Rob and his clients too. It was so incredible. I was so selfish. I was so egotistical that the program could work for them, but it can't work for me because I'm more busy than everybody else who's in the program. I've got more important stuff to do at work and at home than everybody else. So I think that was a transition mentally for me from how I'm stepping outside my own ego and really adapting to my actual potential. So in my first 6 months, I was able to torch 20 pounds. And when you are losing that type of weight, but also putting on muscle, there's a certain level of confidence that just hits you. And, you know, my clients, my team, our admin, my team manager, Andrea, they all noticed right away. And I think when you start feeling good about yourself, you can then start putting that type of energy into your business. And whether or not we can trace everything back to Rob's program, all I can say is that within that first 6 months, it was not only a turnaround at home and my personal life, but also our business as well. Although I was a family man, I missed a lot of it. Even though I was there, I wasn't there because I had too much to drink or even too much to eat, where you can't get intimate or you can't enjoy family time. You can't enjoy your kids jumping on you because you're so bloated from eating all of this bad food. Where after Rob's program, after my first few months and I was eating better, I had a flatter stomach, I wasn't bloated, I had more energy, and my entire family noticed it right away. And it builds that intimacy that you need as a family to be close together, to feel each other. And when I opened that goals journey and that note, it really meant the world to me. The program is designed for, I wouldn't even just say people with a busy lifestyle. I would think that it's designed for people with a busy mindset, where they can't necessarily, see themselves in a better state. And that's how I lived decades of my life. I didn't think that I necessarily deserved a better life. And I thought that it was too hard. And I thought that most programs are gonna want way too much than I'm willing to give. And this program just completely fit into my lifestyle from, there's no fad diets. I literally have not stopped eating what I love. The only thing that it helps me cut out are the negative things that I choose to cut out. So if you are out there and you're thinking that, a lifestyle change is not for you, or maybe it's something that you can't physically or mentally achieve, then I'm here to tell you that you can do it, because if somebody like me can achieve these types of results, then you can too.
There you have it, 20 pounds of stubborn belly fat torched, crushing his health, his wealth, and his relationships, all because he bet on himself and went all in. So listen, if you're watching this right now and you're ready to torch 20 to 40 pounds of stubborn belly fat and build the reflection you're proud to show off, I want you to book a free strategy call right now. We'll jump on the phone and we'll see if we're a good fit to coach together. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next episode, and always remember, own your choices, own your life.